Welcome, guys. Welcome to another GWC show. It's so great to see you all here. So crowded already. Guys, welcome. Tonight, we will talk about a very sensitive topic experiences as lady streamers, and more important, experience as female gamers. This topic is super sensitive, especially for me, yes, because I'm a female gamer. So there were situations where I was confronted with toxicity, and I think it's time that we talk about this and try to find a way to talk in a good way about this. So what I mean by this is this week was really like tough for me. I thought a lot about, like, if you go too strongly into the blaming, nobody will hear you. And if you try to debate, you're too emotional, you're a feminist. And when you try to be constructive, it has to end up in a very strong, emotional, like strong, reasonable way. So, how can we contribute something that hasn't been said like 100 times before, guys? How can we how can we find a common ground? So, I think before we start, we should understand that toxicity in video games falls into, let's say, four main categories: trash talking, griefing, stereotype and identity, and sexual harassment and other forms of discrimination. So, I think all I can hope for tonight is that we can show the other side and find a way to be constructive with you guys here in the chat. I hope you bring up questions and ideas, actually, so we can maybe have some ideas for building a better gaming society for all of us. All right, that's it, guys. I think you all know what we are talking about now. I think this was pretty much on point. Ladies, welcome. Welcome to the show. Gabytron is here. ScribbleNinja is here. Lady Caros from Greece. Guys, can you do me a favor quick and introduce yourselves for the chat? Maybe we start with you, Gabby, and then go down with Scribble and Lady Caros. Can you give
Sure.
us a little intro?
Hi, everyone. My name's Gabby. I go by Gabytron. All my accounts are Gabytron 5000. I am a Twitch streamer. I've been on a break, but I'm back. And I'm super excited to be here.
Great to have you. Scribble.
Hey guys, I am ScribbleNinja. I have been broadcasting for 13 years now. Um, gosh, I don't even know what to say. I have no clue. I'm out of thoughts right now. Like I'm just like thinking about the video we just watched and how spot on that is.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
no
was
problem. We
having
can
slight PTSD from that. I'm like, ugh.
well, we can jump right into that if you want to. Lady Caros, just give me a little heads up who you are.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Anna. People just call me Lady Kerberos or Kerberos, whatever you like. Um, I've been streaming for about almost a year, and I'm a Battlefield fan, and that's it.
That's it, guys.
And that's it.
You're not selling yourself. It's very interesting. Um,
Yeah, no, I don't want to sell myself. Like, I love gaming. That's me. I love Battlefield. I'm a Battlefield lover. Other than that, I'm a chef, but due to COVID, I haven't been working for a month. For a year, sorry. So since I haven't been working, I just got more into gaming. So
mhm.
yeah.
Um, if I go back to this clip, ladies, the first thing I thought like is, don't you have the thinking sometimes when you join a game, just want to relax. Just imagine the situation. You get on, you just want to play your game, and you join a random squad because nobody of your friends is on, and then this happens. And the first thing which comes into my mind is like, why can't I just leave my mic on and play a game,
Mhm.
right?
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
true.
It's like you come in with a good attitude, like, I'm just going to play a game, ready to do some teamwork, going to do the thing. And then that happens and it kills your vibe for the rest of the day if you let it. But, you just have to ignore it. That's what everyone always tells us. You just got to ignore it. You just got to turn it all off, turn off the mic, turn off the text chat. And it's like, well, maybe I just want to play a game without having to take all these precautions.
Mm.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
you get the like opposite end of the spectrum where they're ridiculously nice and they're
Mhm.
like, no, like I don't need special treatment. Let me play the game.
Yeah,
I'm just like you.
Mhm.
exactly. I
Well,
used
yeah, please go ahead.
in the beginning I had a lot of hate when I first started streaming. Like I had people like come in my chat like, oh, you should be in the kitchen, like the video that we watched,
Mhm.
and go cook something or whatever, or you're a noob, or there's so many things that people would come in and say. And it was
Mhm.
really hard to build a community in the beginning because I was a female. But I ignored it and I acted kind of like a male, but as a female, and trying to grow a really good community. That was like what I did for myself.
Mhm. Um, do you have any thoughts of, or can you give me like examples, like experience and point of toxicity against you guys as a girl gamer?
I mean, for me personally, it was a lot like exactly what happened in the clips where you're just trying to play and then they're doing that. And you're not even saying anything, just the fact that you have a female sounding name. And like that's happened before where I've said nothing all match, but I'm still in like the chat and everything. And then they just are like, hey Gabby, hey Gabby, hey Gabby. And then I'm just like, are you 12? Like I'm just trying to play a game. So like that's what happens more often is stuff like that. Like some crazier stuff has happened, but only like, you know, a smaller amount of times. But that feels like it's more of a constant thing. If, like I said, if you don't mute the mic, if you don't leave chat, if you don't interact, then obviously it's not going to happen. But to me, literally what happened in her clip is what happened a lot in Overwatch. Part of the reason why I stopped playing Overwatch, you know, so
Mhm.
unfortunate.
Well, what about you guys? Do you have any specific experiences you would like to share? Like what
Ooh,
happened in your chats or in general?
I've had quite a few because I've been broadcasting for so long. Man, I've heard everything from like the whole get in the kitchen thing to just really ridiculous things about like, oh, what do you look like? You should send me nudes. You should send me this. Oh, you're a girl, so you have to do this. And it's like, no, I really don't. And that's why I'm so thankful now that we have such a great community going, because then I don't have to worry about needing to play with randoms half the time because I could always find at least one person on. So I'm not in game chat. And I have one other person to at least talk to in game with, so I don't have to hear the toxic comments as much. Um, but it is frustrating not being able to just go in and be treated like half the other guys that game, or you know, they just hop in and they start communicating. They're like, hey, somebody's over in this area or whatever, depending on what game you're playing. They just respond. They're like, okay, I got it, whatever. But when you're a girl and you say that, it just automatically starts that whole entire toxic conversation of, are you a girl? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's going to be like that today. But the worst one I've had would be back in 2000. I think it was like 2009 actually. This guy, I was quiet the whole entire game, and they were just kind of like arguing with each other, and it was getting really distracting. So we were playing Search and Destroy. And in that game, you have to be kind of quiet or have really good communication with your teammates so you can, you know, kill the other
Mhm.
squad. Well, there's been so many times where I've been quiet and just listening. And then as soon as I say, hey, there's somebody in this area or whatever, it starts like this guy, sorry, it like irritates me now even thinking about it, went off on me and he was like, oh, you're probably fat and you're dumb and you should be in the kitchen and girls don't belong on video games. You guys shouldn't be in school. And just like started grilling into me and with about all these stupid negative stereotypes and all this other stuff that like younger guys think is funny, but it's not.
Quick question
Called
in
me every
between.
name in the book.
This was, he didn't see you. It was just a game and he could hear you, right?
Right.
And it was a young person, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
You could tell he was like maybe 14, 15, 16, around that age.
Mhm.
And just going off, like calling me everything, every slur I could ever think of for a girl. And then I eventually just muted everybody. I was like happy because I was like, okay, I got shot in the back. Oh, well, they probably told me something. I don't care
Yeah.
because I don't have this constant negative gabbing in the background
Mhm.
about who they think I am. Um, but it's just, it's so frustrating. Like I can't even say half the things that he told me that day. I think that was the worst time I ever had. And then they proceeded to follow me around because at that time, if you even if you weren't friends with somebody on Xbox or PlayStation, they could follow you around. They could join your lobbies as long as you were in their recently played list. Like they could just join right in. So
Wow.
even though I blocked them, they were still able to follow me. So they just continued to follow me and try to harass me. And then they got on a different account, tried to do it that way. And it's like, really? Like, am I really worth that much energy for you to go around and be that negative?
That's
Um,
interesting how much energy people can put into toxicity like that. I mean, at the end, they put it on themselves, right?
mm,
Like, this is one side of the story, but on the other hand, I think what happens to you as a gamer, as a female gamer, there is also very important. Like, I mean, there's clearly no level of empathy going on, right? I mean, you can't have any empathy for them, obviously, and they can't have any empathy for you. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Like, just imagine this: you're streaming, right? And you're having you maybe, let's say, playing something like Rainbow Six Siege or Call of Duty, where you either really have a good game or you have a bad game. There's nothing in between, really, right? So if you play Battlefield a whole round, there happens so much. But if you play like in a battle royale, there's not much in between, like really good and bad. So let's say you have a bad round, and then you have a troll in your chat, and he's calling you out for being a bad gamer, and maybe makes a connection with you being female and being a bad gamer. So what happens to you inside, guys? Tell me. You
To
feel
tell you the
pressure?
truth, now nothing.
You're
Like
unfuckwithable. That's great.
it's like going over my head right now because I really don't care if you disapprove of me, I could say, or you have a problem of me playing this game because I don't care what you're gonna say. I'm gonna keep playing. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't let those kind of emotions get to me anymore. I just laugh it off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. And most of the time, like when I play Battlefield, like Battlefield is a little bit more easier not to be around the more toxic stuff. Like you Scribbles, like and you, Gabby, having to do Overwatch and like Rainbow Six, which is like more communication between your teammates, and you have to have that open mic.
Mm-hmm.
In Battlefield, you don't really have to have an open mic. People don't know if you are a male gamer or a female gamer. But if they find you on Twitch and you're like, oh my God, you're that person, like I was in there, then they could start if they wanted to. But
Mm-hmm.
there's some games that are not so toxic as some other games, I would say. But yeah, I
That's true.
just don't let it get to me anymore. It's not worth it.
Did, did you
that's
let it get to you on some point, and when did it stop? I would say I would like to know, Kairos.
In the beginning, when I first started streaming, it would get to me. It did hurt me because I was new to the whole streaming thing and people starting to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone was really offended, because when you're not live streaming and you're just playing a game, you're behind a screen. You don't know what the other person is.
Mm-hmm.
It would get to me, yeah. But I would like tell myself like, no, don't let them get to you because you're better than them. Not in game, but like as a person. So just build your community and just play the game that you love, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I was just thinking about like what I feel sometimes, even though you think you're unfuckwithable and you don't want to let it get to you. I feel like if I have a bad day, and let's just say my capability of being unfuckwithable is very low, and the stuff is getting to me, even though if I wanted to or not.
Yeah,
And most of the time I play even worse than before, just because my head is not in the game anymore.
true.
And if I play good, I also think about this person. I think like, you see, I can play good as well, even though I shouldn't give a fuck about that. Sorry, I
Yep.
said it again. So, but I'm just thinking like it's affecting our mental health. Whatever people are doing consciously, mindful or not, it's affecting our mental health. You know, and that's very sad. I just think it would be nice if we could find a way to do something about it. So this is a question actually. What do you think, especially because I saw like Chris was mentioning here his 15-year-old daughter is watching. Damn, I'm sorry, Chris, for my bad words here. Um, I was thinking like, can we do something actually to support young girls who's starting streaming, young girls who's starting gaming? Like, what kind of support should they actually have, and from who, to, well, not be trapped in these situations without any help?
I've been thinking about that because we've been gaming for years, so we're used to it. Like, we're used to the toxicity, like Lady said. Like, it's most of us, we just let it roll off our shoulders at this point, because we've learned that, you let it get to you, you're gonna have a bad day. Just, mute it and move on. But I do think a lot about like these girls that are barely starting to get into gaming or streaming or doing anything like this, and getting hit with all this stuff for the first time. And I think just hopefully that they find resources that tell them like, hey, you're just going to have to put your foot down and let your community or whatever you're starting out, let them know that that's not behavior that flies with you. So you're not going to tolerate any of that kind of troll. Because I did used to be a little bit toxic when I started out streaming, because I like trolling in games. But that's not a community that I want to foster. That's not an environment that I want to be in. That's not what I want to be known for. So it's like you gotta learn what you allow and what you don't allow. And yeah, I kind of wish like when I was starting out that someone would kind of told me that. Like, it makes sense now, but for like these younger girls that are starting out that are not used to getting yelled at by a bunch of random dudes in a game that you're just trying to enjoy, like, yeah, I wish there was more of like a resources, I guess, or maybe, because you got to look for all this stuff too. It's like you can't just change it overnight. You just have to put something out there, and hopefully they find it and it helps them out, because yeah, it's not easy. It takes a couple years for you to get over it to the point where it just doesn't bother you anymore.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think like my first probably 3 or 4 years of broadcasting were the most difficult, because you do get so much toxicity, and it's not just from like people coming into your chat who are just purposely trying to get at you, like the trolls, but it's also the people like in the multiplayer games who are talking trash as well. And it's like, when you're a gamer and specifically maybe you don't have a huge support system, it's extremely hard to deal with. So then you went from enjoying your day on the stream and playing games to becoming so irritated and aggravated from like the nonstop poking and negativity that's coming your way, that you end up kind of dishing it back unintentionally. And then you'll go back and you'll watch your broadcast and you're like, oh my God, I was so toxic. Maybe I should have taken a minute. Like, maybe I should have just like said be right back and like walked away for a few minutes and just like took a breather. But you don't think about that. And
No.
especially when you're a new broadcaster, it's so overwhelming. Like, everything is just so new. Like, I was so toxic. I used to, like, you talk back to the people in the multiplayer chats, and like they'd call me a name. I start calling them names too. And then they just like didn't know what to do, though, because girls usually don't say anything back. So when
Yep.
you actually do and you say something just as toxic as they did, they're like, and then they try to befriend you, because they're like, oh, okay, what do I do now? Like, I'm not actually getting like the negative response that I want. What do I do? So then they try to be like, oh, what's your handle and what's this? And you're just like, nah, like, you already, I don't want you around my community. Go away. I'm not gonna talk to you. But
So what's the
yeah,
recipe here, guys? Is it the recipe like don't give them Battlefield to play on, basically? How do you handle these situations? Like just mute them, just ignore them, answer with love.
it depends on each situation. I think
True.
each person is different. Like,
Yep.
some people, you could ignore them and they'll just shut up on their own. And then there's those people who just keep going, and then you have to say something. And sometimes they'll be quiet, but then other times they just keep going. It gets worse. So you have to mute them and move on. But
Yeah, the
It's
kindness one surprisingly has worked for me once or twice. I remember I posted a video of this kill streak, and some guy was like, "Whatever, you suck." And I'm like, "Hey, thanks for taking the time out of your day to comment on my video." And he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you're welcome." Like, he was so nice after that. And I'm like, "Why? Like, you could have just said, like, cool video, and that's it." But no, he had to go out of his way to do something negative. And I'm like, "You know what? Thanks for taking the time out of your day to do that." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're awesome. You're great. You're welcome." And I'm like, why? What's so yeah, it's so weird sometimes how it's like I don't have the energy to be mean right now. It's just, you know what, thanks, guy. He was like, "You're welcome," and I'm like, yeah.
I tested that as well, actually. Do you have any experience with that, Lady Covers?
My experience is not as bad as the two ladies here, but I tend to be more low key in game. I will not state that I'm a female, I'm a gamer, female gamer, anything like that. So people behind screen think I'm a male.
Mhm.
So I'm treated like a gamer because they don't know what's behind the screen. But if they find out that it's me and they come in my chat, then that's fine, and they can respect me as a
Mhm.
gamer, not me putting myself, like selling myself as a female gamer. I just want to be a gamer
Mhm.
Is
who is
your
a female.
is your gaming handle like female sounding at all, or is it kind of like
Lady
ambiguous?
Lady Caros. It's pretty female, right?
Well, in Twitch it's Lady Kerberos, but in game it's not Lady Kerberos.
Ah,
It's
it's not.
just Kerberos. Yeah.
Ah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Oh wait,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, then it's not that obvious, I think. Yeah.
No, sometimes
Yeah.
if I like speak in the VoIP section in the Battlefield, and I'm like, "Oh, guys, right here, can I get a revive?" And they're like, "Oh my God, a woman!"
Yep.
It's like they never heard a female voice before. Like females do play video games. I say that all the time.
That's
Yeah,
very interesting. Oh, sorry.
that's
Go.
the magic. No, I'm just gonna say that's the magic of being able to name yourself, whatever, and then you can pretend to be a dude or be a kid or whatever. Because I've had that happen before too. They're like, "Are you a child?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am a child.
Sure.
Be nice to me." And they're great. They don't.
Yep.
They're nice.
When I first started streaming it, I didn't have a webcam. I just had my headphone microphone, and people would come in and were like, "Are you like a 12-year-old boy?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, is my voice like sound like a 12-year-old boy?" Like
Mhm.
I was so offended.
I've had that happen to me quite a few times, and it's always so funny. And then you go back after your stream, and you're like, "Does my voice really sound that
Yeah.
like little?" And you
Yeah.
get so self-conscious.
That's interesting. Yeah, I got this question actually a few times as well. Like, are you a boy or are you a girl? Because I couldn't tell and they were so curious. And I was many times I was about to say, yeah, I'm a boy, I'm just a kid, but I didn't do it, I think. Ah, it's interesting. Hey, Chris John Smith said it again. Like, Jess is quite fortunate that she plays with me and my friends at the moment, so she's shielded somewhat to the toxicity, as they just treat her like anyone else. So he's basically watching if there are messages coming in. I just try to shorten it a little bit. My question is that his daughter is 15 years old, right? So he's trying to protect her from any toxicity coming to her, and I think that's pretty wise, actually, not leave her alone with that. But so many kids actually are alone with that, and we say today, like, I don't know how it is in your countries, but in Germany it's like this, that we say, like, in schools there's not much education about online, social behavior. And this is part of online social behavior, I think, right? So school can't cover that. I think parents have kind of the responsibility to educate their kids, but it feels like even they are most of the time overwhelmed and don't know what to do about it, really. So what can we do about it? Can we help in gaming communities, maybe? Like, are there any instruments? Like, if you look at gaming communities, yeah, look into platoons. Every platoon has the section in the Discord rules, right? So don't be toxic, don't be discriminating whatsoever. So everyone knows that. Everyone, maybe some people read that, actually. But of course, there are always trolls coming into the server and not behaving like they should. So what happens? They maybe get muted, they get banned, right? There will be no discussion about it most of the time. It's just, you didn't behave the way you should, so leave. How about we see it as an opportunity? How about we see it as an opportunity as community leaders to get into a conversation and try to change these mindsets one by one? What do you think about that? Also, chat
Um,
question for you guys.
for me, like I want to say, first of all, everything has to do with parenting at home. So the way you raise your child and how to be respectful towards females or males, I will say everything. It's the first point for me. So if someone's disrespectful and has self-esteem issues, it's totally a thing through their home. But it's just a lot easier to put it through IRL because you're behind a screen and you don't care about hurting someone's feelings. So, but 100% is how everything is at home. And sometimes I feel like you can't really do, like you can try to help someone out and you can talk with them, but at the most part, if they're really that damn down with like the self-esteem and they have like their own issues, you can't really help them out.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to like help yourself out first before you can reach to others to get help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually had a younger kid come into our community, and he used to be really negative when he'd come in. And then one day I asked him, I was like, dude, what's going on? Like, why are you so negative? You come in here, you seem like you like the channel, but then you just give like the rudest comments to people, or you say mean things to me. Like, I don't understand what's going on. And they didn't say anything in my chat for a while. And then they just responded, I sent you a private message. And this young kid was struggling at home because he was being ignored by his parents. And all he ever heard was negativity. And so he would come into my chat, and because I didn't respond negatively, it for some reason gave him like I don't know how to explain it. Like it was like his outlet of dealing with what was going on at home. And I ended up helping him find some resources on how to talk to his parents about getting therapy for himself so that he'd have a healthier way to deal with what was going on at home without his parents knowing. Because I mean, when you have the kid in therapy, their parents typically aren't allowed to know what they're talking about, especially if the child doesn't want the parents to know what's going on. Just help him deal with that negativity. And now he comes in there, he's a lot happier. He's always happy. And sometimes it's just people are being negative because they need, like they don't know how to talk to somebody or say I need help. Like that's their call out for help. And it's hard because I agree with you, ladies. Sometimes it is very hard to help people, especially if you're going through a lot.
Yep.
Because it adds a little more stress. But I'm one of those people who always puts myself kind of like on the back burner, and I'll like reach out and try to help somebody as much as I can. I tell them like, I'm not a professional, but this is what's going on. Let's try to get you help or something. But it's extremely hard to deal with because you just don't know if this person is just actually toxic or something's going on and they're just letting it out on you.
Yeah.
Gabby, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at chat and Cylon mentioned something about how society's changed a lot, but school hasn't really changed about what's taught. And so it's like social education, domestic education, sexual education. Like, yeah, there's only so much we can do, like in reaching out to someone, but they need to be able to accept that help, right? So that's why you have to make that change in yourself first to say, yeah, I need to go talk to somebody about this. How do I do it? So there's always that that barrier before we actually get to do something. Plus also the fact that people online think that the internet exists. Well, not everyone online, obviously, but a lot of people think that internet just exists so that you can be as toxic as you want and get away with it. That's like that weird mentality. They're like, well, you're on the internet. You better have thick skin. You better be able to take it. And it's like, no, like you choose to be this way on the internet. The internet is just the internet. The internet was made for the military. The internet wasn't made so you can, call people names on it. So it's like, it's how we're using the tools. And it's unfortunate that's like kind of ingrained in our heads already, or a lot of people's heads. So that's what the internet's for. So yeah, there's like a lot of change that needs to happen at home and school and just in like society in general for any of this to actually like start changing, unfortunately.
Exactly. I have an example. I had a sixth grader come in my chat. At first he was very nice, and I'm like, how did you make an account? Like, how do you like a sixth grader being on Twitch, which Twitch is like it has everything. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right, well, you can chill here. You know, we're a chill, non-toxic community. It's all right, you know. But he started being very disrespectful to me and to my chat. And I asked him many times, like, to stop doing what he was doing and so forth and so on, which led to a ban. And before I banned him, I told him, I'm sorry, but I'm not your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that sounds like toxic, but you cannot help everyone through, like, you can't, it's like draining. It's draining your energy to help every single person. And when you ask nicely and you try to talk with him for many days and he just doesn't understand, I'm just drawing the line. And it's like, no, thank you.
Well,
I'm
that's
not your mother.
I think that's a difference between you being just a streamer, and having a community where you actually, well, tend to know each single person you get in before you get them in, right? So if you have a community on Discord, for example, these are people you used to play together with, so you have to have a common ground of how to behave, also with, you know, and deal with each other. So like Averaging Storm, for example, said she left comp and Battlefield because of toxicity. And I mean, I tried to build once a competitive team for Battlefield 5. So I know a little bit about what she's talking about. Like it's very hard to, well, it sounds weird, but to get the respect from male gamers when you try to be in a competitive scene, or just to be, you know, or just to be like a, let's say for you, for example, Gabby, to be a game changer, you know. I think we all have lived through these moments where we are in our own field and felt this, you are not worth it. So this is one thing. So that's why I was thinking about, if we have a community, a platoon of how many people there are, can we help to build something up also with young gamers? Because, for example, in my community, here and there we got young gamers who applied for the platoon. And at the beginning we said 18 plus only. And then we had this kid, he was like 15, 16. And I really liked him and I wanted to him. The only thing was he was talking a lot, you know, young people do that sometimes. But I really thought, like, why not, you know, I mean, if we get young people in, you know, we also help them to see what is community about. How do you behave? How do you play with each other? How is squad work doing, you know? I mean, they have to start somewhere. Why not building them up over the years?
Like a role model.
Like a role model, but they refused to do it because they didn't want to play with kids. I mean, many of my guys were actually my age, so, and I had to accept it. But I thought, like, after that, like, I think this is kind of the responsibility, because we can't put these young kids into a corner, like, you know, come back when you're 18 and then behave. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we should be mom and daddy, but I think we can at least give them a chance to see this is a structure where you can run with us, and you can get your chance, you know. So let me what are you saying, Caesar, here, Missy? I go through the same with my own clan. Yeah, I believe that every clan is going through that, because we all have our age restrictions in there, and I get it, it makes sense. But on the other hand, I mean, if we want to change something, we have to start with the kids as well, you know, at some point. I don't know
sometimes
if I missed so many messages here. I'm
sometimes there's like even 30 and 40-year-olds that are very toxic. Like sometimes age doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Trying boils down to no discipline or respect. They're going up to action mature, yeah. Definitely. Let me bring a question again to you guys. What are your feelings towards something completely different? What are your feelings towards the in-game mechanics for reducing toxicity, and do they perceive that more could be done? Like when you look into the games we are playing, do you think they're well, like EA or Ubisoft, whoever is building these games, they should change specific things to do something against toxicity?
Um, I definitely think there's a lot more that these gaming companies can do to help kind of battle the whole toxicity thing. For one, have a better filter on usernames. I've seen so many toxic usernames, especially with like Activision, like EA and stuff. It's horrible. Like half the things people get away with. Like I'll be gaming with someone, I'm like, oh, this person's a really good gamer. As soon as I see their gamer tag, I'm like, never mind. Like I'm not going to add this person. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to say anything because based on that username, I can't move forward from it. And then on top of that, if you report someone for being toxic on a video game, they should do something about it instead of waiting like till 5-10 strikes later when a bunch of people have reported this person or being toxic, saying rude things, whatever. Like they have so much that they can do. And if these people keep making numerous accounts, they could literally ban the console and there's nothing they can do about it. It's harder with PC, so much harder because anybody who knows how to do anything with a computer, I mean, you can change your IP address as many times as you want.
Yeah.
But people who are on more specifically console, they should be able to permanently ban them from being able to game with other people at that point. It's like, okay, like we're going to take a stand against toxicity and online bullying and like cyberbullying and everything by ensuring we don't have toxic usernames by using symbols, whatever they want to use. And on top of that, paying attention to why these people are being reported in the first place and not just giving them a 24-hour ban for saying a slur. It's like they've done this numerous times. Just get rid of them. They are too toxic to be in the gaming community or understand why they're being toxic. Just get rid of it at that point.
Question in between: if somebody bans you on PS4, they can just make another account, right?
No.
Well, wouldn't you have to pay for another PlayStation Network account as well to get online?
I'm not
If
sure.
they-
I don't know. I never got banned.
If you get banned on console, they actually ban the IP address that's associated with that console. So it doesn't matter if you make another account, that console cannot get online. It's basically bricked.
And if you
Can't
get a
do anything.
VPN,
That's a different story. If you can change your stuff so you're not identified, but most people are identified to their Xbox or their PlayStation through their username.
Mhm.
So they can just take your username and say, oh, you registered to this Xbox, so we're just going to ban this Xbox. So then they can't do anything about it at all. Because when you register your product, you're registering what is it called? IMEI, right? On the back. But automatically does it for you
IME?
these days. You don't have to actually type it in yourself. But I mean, they know.
I'm just
exactly what
saying, like
console you
I mean, just looking at all the hackers right now on Call of Duty, and they ban so many people, and they will just
Yeah.
make new accounts. So
Yeah, the majority of those people typically are on
what are you
PC and
saying?
have modded their consoles so that they can use a lot of like
Missing no
PC
bans.
type hacks. So
Yeah.
they figure their way around it. So it's like at that point, how the heck are we going to permanently ban these people that know how to change their IP address and do all this stuff? It makes it extremely difficult. What they can do is go directly to the company or the person who is creating those hacks and sue them. And that will make people fear a little bit more because the companies that they're getting these hacks from are getting sued. So people who continue to do it are going to do it less and less because they don't want to be caught. They don't want to have federal charges or anything like that against them. I know for me, if I was that type of person, I would hate to be found and then be sued by like Microsoft or something for millions of dollars, because it's not going to be something small. It's going to be millions of dollars. It's not, you're ruining an entire gaming platform for your own benefit just so that you can look good on a video game. It's like, I would hate
Mhm.
that. I mean, more punishment, harsher punishment is going to be ultimately what makes people stop doing these things. It's never going to go away, but you're going to have
No.
less.
I
You know?
was just thinking about like getting a court order for social work for 2 weeks till you get your PlayStation account back. Doing something productive in the timer. So, oh, that's weird. But are there, from you, Gabby and Lady Carros, are there any other in-game mechanics you think which would you reduce toxicity?
So not exactly game mechanics, but okay. So I'm an EA game changer. And for I don't like to fill out the title, whatever. But for people who don't know, it's EA. Whenever there's a game coming out or a new DLC or something, sometimes if you're part of that like game group, they'll send you a code. You can try it out. You can do like first looks and stuff like that. You can also go to capture events. There was a subsection that a couple of game changers did called the Healthy Play Summit, building healthy communities, which was dedicated completely to tackling all this toxicity and bullying and a lot of things that we face as gamers. And that so one of the things EA they said that first we just made games, we were a publisher, but now we're an actual like live service and platform, so they're doing more to kind of craft that space of this online platform where you can game. So even though right now maybe some of the games are kind of hard to report in, like Battlefield, it's such a pain to report people in Battlefield. They're actually making like a more of an effort to like embed those like reporting options and those filtering options. So for I can't say for sure 100%, but I know that for some of their games moving forward, like that's part of their base that they're going to be building the games on, is making stuff easier to report. So I don't know 100%. If you guys want to look it up, they're called the Building Healthy Communities and Healthy Play.
Yes, definitely.
Whatever is out there is public that I guess I'm allowed to talk about. I don't know what I am or can't say too much about it, but yeah. So EA Healthy Play and building healthy communities is something they've been working on for a while now. So EA for sure is at least trying to tackle all that and making like actual concrete moves to do that. So that's part of why I'm looking forward to Battlefield 6, obviously because it's a new Battlefield, but also just to see how they've implemented all of the stuff that they've been working on to make
Wait, I think that was the wrong link.
Oh yeah, no, it's not the website, but it's just like EA building healthy communities. So,
That's
but yeah, so
funny.
like I said, I'm
Ignore me.
looking forward to games coming out by EA in the next couple of years to see how they've acted on that. So
We hope so. They kind of tried in Battlefield 5 though, because I know like a lot of people were being very toxic and racist and everything, and people would report them. They would get like a week suspension or a month ban, and then they'd get back on the game and do the same thing again because they know that nothing's gonna happen. They'll just get a slap in the hand all the time, and that's it. So they really need to ban people for being racist, toxic, and so forth and
Wow,
so
this
on,
was in
and for
German.
being hackers and being an actual ban. So maybe that's a lesson learned rather than just having a week or 2 week or a month suspension.
Ignore my links, guys, in the chat. I'm unable to find the English link somehow. It doesn't show me. It's in
I
German,
can
but
post it on this one.
there should be a German link as an English link as well. That's interesting. I would definitely look it up, Gabby. I'm super interested in that. What? How? Yeah.
I was gonna say, in response to Caesar Ghost, they were saying it would also help if clan founders had strict rules, especially for members being toxic and trolling. Yeah, I can agree with that. As a community leader myself, we do not allow toxicity. We don't care what it is. If you bring up something toxic, we'll talk to you about it first and tell you why it's wrong and have a discussion about it in private. But if they continue to do it, they're gone. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
a big no-no. But I think that if more communities probably did do that, because I know there's a lot of streamers who are famous because they're toxic. That's just their, I guess, persona that they want to convey while they're streaming. I think if we had a little bit less of that, if that wasn't as popular, or if they just said, this is a persona, it's not a real thing, you shouldn't go around treating people like this in real life, it would make a huge difference. Because a lot of kids, they're just so easily manipulated or impressionable, they're going to think that's okay. They're going to turn around and see like another broadcaster who's known for their negativity, and it's like a comedy thing for them, but a kid sees it and they think they're serious. And they're going to turn around and be that toxic to people normally because they think it's funny. And it's like, hold up. There's a difference between real life and, being entertaining and content creation. And if that line isn't clearly stated, I think that's what's creating a lot of negativity for younger gamers too.
You know what, Caesar, listen, I think, you know what we could do, and I think GamersWeCare would like to help with that. I would like to call in like the next 2 weeks. I will send you guys a DM. I would like to call in like a meeting between community leaders. And maybe we could make a draft to help other communities how to handle with toxic situations. Because I think very, very often, like I said, I think communities have these rules, like you shouldn't behave like this or that. But at the very end, the leaders we put in place, they don't know how to handle these situations. And then it ends up in endless discussions and then in bans, and nothing is gained from it. So maybe we can, let's have a talk about that. I will send you guys DMs, and then we can see if we can get other leaders in there. I think this is something we could maybe work on together, because it's not only toxicity against female streamers. I think at the end the cause is the same root. It's people who are acting out of fear or are not have no self-confidence. Don't know how to communicate because nobody taught them. Whatever it is, reactions are always very similar. What would you recommend now? Back to the females. Ladies, what would you recommend? Like, let's say a lady streamer is coming to you and say, like, I want to start streaming. How would you recommend them to construct their identity, to find their identity for their, because many times you are not the same person exactly like when you stream, like when you're at home, right? You kind of have to separate it a little bit. So how would you help them to find their identity on stream, so they feel like they have a safe space and gaming environment for themselves?
Well, streaming you have to see as a job because it is a job. You have to see it as a job. And then second, you're doing something you love, which is gaming. Others may see it as a hobby. Yeah, it's a hobby, but it's something that you take like 8 hours out of your day to do. So that's when the job comes in. But for me, how I am at home and how I am towards my friends and everything is how I am on stream. Like, I'm not someone different.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would tell
Be
them to
you.
be yourself,
Mm-hmm.
be you, and build a community you want to build. Like, you're the leader. Don't let anything put you down. Like, just be a warrior. That's what I say. A
I like
Greek
that.
goddess warrior. That's why I say to myself, that's what you have to be, like a Spartan. Like, you're gaming and you're like, all right, nothing's gonna put me down. Let's just game. Let's have fun in the chat. We laugh. That's what I do. I laugh, I play. And that's it. You can't because if you're not having fun while you're streaming and while you're gaming, and then like, what's the point of doing it? Don't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me would be what I mentioned earlier about setting those guidelines of what you do and don't allow. Like, if you want your chat to be raunchy, that's cool. Allow that. If you don't want those kind of jokes in your chat, make it known. If you want to be wholesome and family friendly, make it known. Like, just kind of, I guess, establish your boundaries of what you do and don't want your stream to be. Like, I would suggest not going the raunchy way, just to avoid problems in the future, because you never know if you want to rebrand yourself, and then later on you're like, oh, I can't. So that's just me personally, but just make sure that your rules, and set those rules and follow those rules of what you do and don't allow as far as behavior goes from chat and community.
Mm-hmm. You want to add anything to that, Scribble?
I don't know.
You don't,
That was
don't
pretty. Huh?
you don't have to.
I'm like, that was pretty spot on. Um, no, no.
That's all good. That's maybe something comes to your mind later.
Yes.
Um, Let me see. Well, what changes? Like imagine the future of gaming like in a 10 years, 20 years, you know? What kind of change would you like to see? Where do you see? I mean, we are like nearly 50% ladies are gaming, you know, these times. You know, it's there's not even inequality in point of how many female gamers are out there. The inequality comes down if you look into the competitive side, right? And if you look into the content creator side. So how would you like to see the future for female gamers and streamers?
I personally would like to see more girls get into tech and like software and technology hardware, because I feel like, yeah, we're streaming, but then like if something happens to your machine, it's like I gotta go get the guy to fix it. It's like, no, you can do it. They're just boxes with little components and you just figure out what they do. And so I would just like to see have that more like comfortability of girls still thinking that computers is a boy thing. Like 2021 we're still thinking that. Like, come on, like that's personally what I would like to see, is just seeing more girls get comfortable with hardware and technology. And it's like we're on our phones all day. That's a big piece of hardware right there that's in everyone's lives. Like she's gonna just keep building on that. So I think I would like that, just so that just gaming and being, I don't know, like doing techie stuff is more of a commonplace thing for girls, and we don't still feel like, it's like, oh well, it's hard and I don't know how to do it because it's like math, and it's because it's like computers, and it's because it's like other boy things. It's like that's what I want to see, is just get a little bit over that hump. Hopefully, we'll see more programmers and coders and developers and stuff that are female, so that we feel more like part of the game process, as opposed to just like a game on my phone when my boyfriend's on his PlayStation. It's like, no, come on, girl, get into it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll take that one step further because I've actually been thinking about that for a while now. I myself am in the STEM field, and it's kind of frustrating not seeing more women in the STEM field because, like, especially like engineering and stuff, it's so male dominated that when you end up going in there, like guys are like, why did you want to become an engineer? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? And it's like, because I like it. Like, I've been around it my entire life. I realize I like computers, I like coding, I like doing all this stuff. So why not major in it? And I think what we're lacking as a society right now is we don't push enough girls to be involved with technology from a young age. It's always guys. Like, I think actually my boyfriend and I were having a conversation about this the other day, that we tend to push women into like a social concept of women should only be doing these types of things, instead of like, okay, women can be anything just like guys can be anything. Like, women should be able to be engineers or go into freaking cloud systems, anything they want to do, they should be able to do it as well. And we should stop trying to put this annotation, I guess, on society of girls, girl things, like you have to do this or you have to do that. We should be able to get them involved with science and technology from a young age so they could decide exactly what they want to do. But if they don't get that influence from a young age, they're never going to be interested in it, which is why so many women hate gaming, because they don't understand why it's so much fun, or why their boyfriends like being on console or playing with their friends. And it's like, there's a whole other level of community and friendship that you have with people when you're gaming. It's like a different level of communication as well. And it's fun, it's relaxing. I don't know. Sometimes the game will make me really angry, but I'm still having a lot of fun hanging out with my friends. And I feel like we don't put women or like girls in that position to actually enjoy games or be involved with technology.
It's interesting that you say that, guys. I can't find, unfortunately, I just had a look. I read a study today about this topic, and I can't find it no more. But there was this part in where they said they found out that girls who actually play video games are more interested also like in technology.
Yep.
So they help them. I'm in a podcast. So this helps actually getting them more interested in technology, So girls should be well, have the option to play video games. And I think when it comes from home or maybe from the environment they're, they have around them, it's just not the normal. Like me myself, I was hiding that I am playing actually video games to my friends. I think well, most of my friends don't know still. Like, it's just something I never feel comfortable to share really. Like, I mean, now I'm like 38, I'm a mom, and I still play video games. It doesn't feel right. But why? I ask myself this question a lot of times. Why do I feel uncomfortable? Why do I have even to explain myself? It's so silly. And I think at the end, it's a stigmatization, it's a stereotype I try to fit in, like going to mom's meetings. I would never go to a meeting with in my kindergarten and tell them like, hey, by the way, I'm busy. I play video games and I like shooters. It's like I would get this look, which doesn't make me feel comfortable. And I think it's just probably we are at the beginning still of well, having a society which is open about that, and especially now where the gaming industry is booming, um, I think we need more support. Um,
Yep.
what did you mean? Like Caesar said something. I think I missed the question again. Was there a question in the chat I missed? Help me out here quick.
I'm trying to find it to see exactly what, like, quote exactly
There
what
was so
Caesar
many.
said.
Yeah, there's a lot of good conversation in chat right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like reading out loud every one of these. You guys are amazing tonight, by the way, chat. Thank you so much for participating. I'm so sorry if I missed anything right now. We'll have a look. I would just put up another question, Craig. I think if you look at toxicity, for example, on streaming, you can always see it and take ownership from different sides, right? You can take ownership as a streamer, you can take ownership as a participant, as a mod in the stream, right? How should people react when they're in stream? Like, how can they support you better as a streamer? What would you like to have? What would your dream supporters, participants in chat be? Somebody is bullying you.
When someone's bullying you in chat, and he's a random, I would say, we could say that he's a random. You have a whole community backing you up. Like your viewers, your community backing you up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you will have to deal with it less because you built such a good community that they will deal with your problem rather than you deal it with yourself. I don't know if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I have that happen a lot now. Like, I don't really have to worry if somebody comes in my chat and starts talking negatively. Usually someone will ask them a question and try to change their attitude before they give them a ban.
Yeah.
But if they continue, then they ban them for me, or they'll chase them out, and I don't even get to, like, I'll be in the middle of a match and it's really intense and I don't see what's happening for that few minutes. And I look back at the chat to talk to and respond to people, and I see this huge conversation happen in that 2 minutes, and this person got banned, and I go back and I'm like looking, why did this person get banned? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Like, yeah. um I love having that tightness of a community and that support though of everybody going like, hey, you knock it off. Like, don't come in here and be negative. This is a positive place. We're going to keep it positive. Stop it. And I hope we continue to see that. And also, like, my community, they'll, like, if I say something stupid, they'll correct me. They'll be like, hey, you shouldn't say that because of this. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that. I'm so sorry. And help each other grow and be positive together.
Yep.
Like, that's what I want to see out of our communities from the future. Like, I just want to see people help each other be better people and be less toxic, because as you mentioned, online is like this free for all, it seems like, and cyberbullying is just rampant, and I wish they would do more about it. I know here in the United States for a while there, they talked about actually basically giving kids a record, like finding them and making them do like therapy and all this stuff if they were cyberbullying kids. And I thought it was a great idea, but at the same time, it's like they shouldn't have this on their record for the rest of their life, but they need to use it as a teachable moment of why they shouldn't be doing that or why they shouldn't be toxic. But
Mhm.
I hope we can continue to be better and better and happier. I like
Mhm.
when everyone's happy. I love going into a stream and seeing the broadcaster happy and laughing, and the chat is just vibing off of it and continuing that conversation and laughing and just having a great time.
Exactly.
That's what I want to see.
Yep.
I noticed that when I would stream more like repeatedly, more like on a schedule, there was more of a chance of trolls coming in, and my chat's sassy, and we would sass them right back. So yeah, it was a bit on the negative side, a bit on the toxic side, but that's, we dealt with them pretty quickly, and they would either like keep the banter going and they would actually like turn out to be okay, or they would just leave right away. But I noticed that since I took my break and I started streaming again, it's like the core community is coming back. So it's like it's less viewers, but it's the good people that stuck around. So now I
Mhm.
don't even need mods. Well, I have mods, but I don't even need to like, watch for that stuff because it just doesn't happen as often. When I was streaming like, every day or at least a couple days a week, like there was more of a chance of just getting randoms who were bored and they see a girl streaming, so I'm gonna go troll her. But now it's like it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I'm really grateful for that. I don't know if there's just been like a small mental shift in viewers lately, but just it's so good that I don't really feel like I have to fight against that recently. In the games, I still see it, but in my chat with everyone who's chatting, it's great. Everyone's amazing. I love the chat.
So you see a little change on streamer side, maybe not on in-game side. That's how I can understand it, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I feel actually the same.
I can agree with that.
Question. In many servers, I see now this tab called love letters. You know what I'm talking about, guys, right? Love letters. It's basically everyone can post in that tab if you got hate mail. And then everyone is laughing about it. And then, people
I've
put
never
like,
seen.
you never seen that? I see that in many Discords these days. And I was always thinking like, well, can we really just laugh about it, or does it show a bigger problem? Or also like, I mean, can we actually help people to understand that, can you react better to these messages? I've got lots of love letters. Yeah, I think so. I actually didn't get a lot. I'm still disappointed.
I used to get a ton.
So my thinking is like, should we have these tabs? And yes, I mean that's freedom of speech, of course. You can have whatever you want. I'm just thinking out of a community perspective. If we have these tabs, and we are proud these days to get hate mail. I mean, is it even a thing you should be proud of? Just asking.
I think honestly, this is where it gets kind of like I don't think there's like one answer to answer that. I think it's like many different things that go into it. But I know like it sounds so stupid, but sometimes when you have a really good player, you get that game where you have like 45 kills and 2 deaths, and you're like, I kicked butt, and then you get that letter
Mhm.
and is calling you trash and all this stuff, and you're like, I just say thank you. I've never said anything negative back. I just say thank you because I'm happy because it's like, hey, I just had a really great
You
game.
just had a
Like,
good game, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just
And
stomped all
so,
over you.
yeah. And it's like, I know you're mad because I would have been mad if that same thing happened to me. Like, I get it. But like, if we look at it at that kind of aspect, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like,
Mm-hmm. Maybe if
we
it's
all
like
get in that
achievement,
position.
averaging Storm said.
Yeah. But at the same time, it can be extremely disrespectful if what if that person
Mm-hmm.
is going through an extremely difficult time and then you're posting it online and you didn't know it was maybe one of your viewers and they see their love letter and that discussion board and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I got to get out of here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're having a bad day, they made the wrong decision to send a love letter.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cyberbullying, whether we want to acknowledge or not. And I mean, it can be comedic, but I don't know how I feel about having an entire thread dedicated to that. It's one thing to bring it up, like if you're on stream, you receive a message, you open it, and you're like, oh, look, this guy's pissed. Like, you kind of laugh it off and go on. But to post it and make it kind of like more of like a permanent thing, I guess. Technically, it can become permanent at that point because you're sharing it all over social media. Because some people take things from Discord and post it on like their Twitter, Instagram, or something like that,
Yeah.
comment further. I think at that point, sometimes it becomes more toxic instead of being innocent at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of goes back to like you're putting effort into doing this. You're putting like you might not mean to be negative, but it's kind of a negative effort to do that. Like, oh, I'm gonna dunk on him so hard. It's like you're just trying to be mean to someone without noticing. So yeah, it's just I agree with that. It just kind of feels like you're two lefts don't make a right, or two wrongs don't make a right.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
The most common sentence males sounds so weird. Tell girl streamers when they start streaming us, just put a camera on, smile, and you're good to go. You have it so much easier than male streamers. What do you think about that?
No. We were actually chatting about this before we started the stream.
Yeah.
I told the girls that I actually found an article that did some stats about how like female streamers might get the views in the beginning, but like overall retention rates, like guys get what did this article say? Like for every concurrent viewership of 20, the women gain 2. So they might have been there for a while, but they didn't come back in that 60-day period. 2 of them came back. The rest of them went to go watch the guy.
I can definitely believe in those stats. Like, it is so hard being, first and foremost, it is hard being a content creator, regardless of your gender. But it is so much harder. Like, I've experienced this personally over the years. It is so much harder for me to keep people in my chat or around in the community than it is for my male counterparts. Like, somebody will go in there for the first time, and then I'll go in there, a few weeks later after things have calmed down with anything that I'm doing. I'll go back to my friend's channel, and there's that person. They're still there, and I'm like, man, I wish I had people come in and like consistently stay like that. Like, it's so hard. I feel like I have to put in much more effort to be, I guess, kind of like almost more entertaining. Because sometimes my guy friends, like, it's so easy. They just chat, and everybody's like, oh, like they fawn over them, and they're like, it's like this brotherhood thing, I think, is what it comes down to. It's like this mutual respect. Oh, it's another guy in the gaming industry, so I'm going to follow him and listen to what he says about this game more than the female counterpart. I feel like sometimes we get a little left out of the equation. We may know more, or sometimes, we're just better than some of our male counterparts, but we don't get the recognition as much as they do. So they'll come in and they'll hang out for a little while with like a raid, but then they're like ghost. They're gone. You can't reach back to them. And I'll raid my guy friends, and pretty much everyone that I've ever raided, or I've been raided sometimes, like 20 people, 5 or 6 will say hi, and then I'll raid out to someone else a few hours later because some people will just like kind of stay there, and all of a sudden the chat blows up, and I'm like, where was this? Why didn't you talk in my channel? And then I get concerned that I'm just not being as entertaining. And it's like, what am I missing that they just naturally do? I guess. I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard being a female content creator.
What are your experiences, Karos? I think you said something like you tried to build up your viewership like for a long time before you were where you're now.
It took me like, I'm not even joking, maybe 4 to 5 months to even get affiliated on Twitch because people would just not follow me. So I was like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not good at the game? And I just kept grinding and I'm slightly growing, and it's amazing. But it's what Scribble says. It takes so much energy out of you when you stream every day, because it's like you have to prove yourself that you are a good gamer. So that takes like such a toll on you every day, because you have to be entertaining, you have to be a girl but like a male at the same time. So, and gaming and being good at the game at the same time, and it's very exhausting, but in the long run sometimes like it's so worth it, because I have such an amazing time in chat every day, and it's great. I love it.
I can completely agree with that.
What are your thoughts, Gabby? Gabby?
Sorry, I was making sure that I was following everybody. um, well, sorry. um, I don't know. I don't really feel like.
You think it's different, like from your perspective as being an EA game changer, for example, and you have to compete with other. I mean, there are like, how many EA game changers are there? There are probably like,
Oh, there's thousands at this
90
point.
they're probably like 90% male, right? 10% ladies.
I know that a while back they made more of an effort to have more women in there, but honestly at this point I don't even know how many are in there. But I know there's like a couple thousand game changers in there, so I'm pretty sure they've done a good balance of it. But I think we're at a point with streaming where it's so saturated where it's hard for everybody, and I think
True.
I know I've had some people ask me like, "Oh, can you get my kid? Can my kid watch over your shoulder so you can start streaming?" And I'm like, no. Like I wouldn't let anyone's kid kind of get thrown into this like right off the bat, because there's so much, and it's like you have to have your own background skills and talents to stand out, and if you don't do that, then I think it's hard for everybody right now. Being a female, I agree with the whole like it's easy to get those views but then they go away. And I feel like you have to prove yourself more with your gameplay if you want to get that like acknowledgement and the follows and the subs. But honestly, I think right now it's hard for everybody the way the streaming's going, and it's getting saturated. And you'll see people that they're entertaining and they'll stream to two people for months and nothing happens, whether they're male or female. So I think right now it's just streaming's a bit saturated, and if you've managed to get a community, or if you can find a community to work with, I would suggest that like focus, I think, maybe less on like yourself and growing your own channel, and see how you can help other people. Or just that's how I've been looking at it lately. Like I've been streaming on and off since 2015, so it's like I would say altogether I have maybe 3 years that I've streamed, but the most fun has been like when I collaborate, when I do podcasts like this. So I think for me, like just finding something that actually is fun would be like a good step to I don't know, standing out for your streaming, or kind of like setting your streaming apart. But yeah, I think right now it's hard for everybody.
I also feel like I really don't think, because Scobie, you said that before, like, is my gameplay good enough, right? I really don't think the magic behind being a good, successful streamer is how good you are as a gamer. I think streaming, the most important thing at the very end is really entertaining. I mean, yes, there are players out there who are just really good and they are not much good in entertaining and they are successful. Yes, these dudes are out there too. But if you start small, I feel like most of the time what I don't see people doing is engagement with their viewers. Being themselves, like enjoy themselves, like they're constantly, I feel like they're under this pressure, like, okay, I have one viewer, what am I doing now, whatever. I just feel, start doing your own thing, be yourself, look for the engagement when it's there, take your time, and this collaboration thing you said, Gabby, I think is also, I think this is really like key right now, just trying to find, others maybe to play with. How can I help others? What can I give? Like, I think you are a graphic designer, right? So is that something you help others with when you say you're helping? Or give me an example, actually, how you collaborate besides of doing the podcast tonight with me.
Whenever I was streaming more often, I would do like kind of graphics giveaways on my channel, and I was also doing emote giveaways. So it was just basic word emotes, like nothing illustrated, nothing too fancy. It's just like if you wanted a word that said hi, GG, something like that. I would do them with channel points. You would have to, actually spend the channel points, but it wasn't too much. And I did a couple of those for people. I would do splash screens, so like offline screens whenever your channel's offline, or desktop wallpapers, or graphics for like YouTube's and social medias. I would do some of those too, and I still have that option on my channel. It's been a while since I've been on consistently streaming, so I haven't done too many in a while. But yeah, with this break, I haven't really been doing much other than just trying to share going live messages on Twitter, or trying to join podcasts, or talking to people that I know or I talk to on Twitter, but don't actually like collaborate with. So it's been kind of a hiatus, but that's something that I'm going to work on for this year. Is I want to engage with my community more, because I started when I did a short stream yesterday, and they're like, "We miss you," and I'm like, "I miss you guys too." So it's time to get back on it. So I'm definitely going to start doing that
Spread
again
the
for
love.
the channel, having the emotes and all that, and especially for people that are just they barely got affiliated, and they maybe don't have the resources to pay $50 for a set of emotes. So like, if you just want an emote that says GG, I'll make you a nice quick little emote that says GG for 900 channel points.
I will come back to that once we have actually decided if we accept our affiliate status here.
Cool.
One more thing. Let's talk about something really difficult. E-girls. Do you think e-girls in a way affected how males see us as game girls and streamers, or how do they attach us with these? Is there any connection? Also, chat, please, especially to the males here in chat. Have you ever thought, like, is there a connection with e-girls and with your girl gamers? And do you think it affects kind of like in point of sexual harassment, which happens, sometimes? Do you think people are just confused?
I think, unfortunately, we all kind of get grouped together. I know so many content creators here on Twitch that are not about being an e-girl. And we just kind of get clustered together, unfortunately. But in general, like, there's no connection between gamer girls and e-girls, I don't think. Like, usually most people can identify if someone is just on the platform to try and make money off of like their private like OnlyFans and things like that. You can tell right away, because you can tell if somebody's a legit gamer, because people who love video games, you could tell they love video games.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like an identifier. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's a
What's an
radar for
e-girl?
us. Like, Chris. But
No,
yeah, no.
explain quick what an e-girl is, please. Chris doesn't
Oh
know
my
what an e-girl is.
God.
You're not talking about porno here.
No. No. Okay. Well, I guess definition of what an e-girl is I see it as
Booby
somebody who
streamer,
comes,
yes.
huh?
Booby streamer.
Yeah, pretty much. They're not really around for the gaming. They're just kind of doing it for the attention, not so much for the community and being a part of the platform and sharing their love for gaming and stuff with each other. It's more of like,
Booby
hey, look at me and look what I got.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you can say they're doing it more for the money. Because every time I see e-girls, it's always about like an X amount of subs to dance. I want to go traveling. I want this money. I want a laptop that's $3,000. Like, what kind of laptop do you want that's $3,000? So they're more about selling themselves through their image to get money. So maybe there's a lot of male gamers that would think us girls that game are like that, but it's not like that.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if there, I don't think there's a connection really as well, but I think we are, it's a very sensitive thing to say. Like, for example, I think we as girls, we think more than boys about how we dress ourselves tonight for the stream, right? Like if I'm a guy, I put a shirt on, whatever is cool, and I'm good to go. But I'm looking like, is my dress too short, how we are definitely thinking about how do I look. And I think we think about more of this because there are girls like e-girls out there. Because we don't want to put into that same box. We want to be ourselves, but at the very end, we want you guys to see us as where you see us, right now. So I think it has an effect, maybe not an obvious effect to you guys, how you see us. But I think it has an effect on us girls, in the way that we think about, please don't put us in that corner. And I think the fact that there is a corner to put us in could be a problem. Um, I have no solution for that. The only thing I have right now is these weird thoughts I try to put together, so don't hit me.
Um, well, we were talking
Mm,
about this before stream too. I was saying like before I get on every stream, if I have my camera on, I'm so self-conscious about what I wear. Like the shirts I usually wear are like V-neck shirts because they're just so comfortable for me. Because I hate when a shirt comes up too high because it makes me feel like I'm like slowly being choked by a really weak person or something. But I just like I hate it. And so I usually wear like V-neck or like lower dipped shirts. But I also have a larger chest, so I have to be very aware of what I'm wearing because sometimes, my shirt will go down a little bit. And that worries me so much when I'm broadcasting because I don't want to be mistaken for somebody who's just trying to make money off of like my cleavage or something. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. And I've had this conversation so many times with my friends and stuff about they're like, oh, well, this person's just being smart. They're capitalizing off a different type of gaming or broadcasting. And I'm like, okay, like I can understand that point, but at the same time, that's all you think about as a female streamer. If you're wearing anything, like you just don't want to be thought of as you don't want people to come in, automatically look at you, see some form of cleavage or something that looks risky or something, and then just automatically categorized and they leave immediately instead of staying and seeing what kind of content creation you have to offer.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. I don't dress as comfortable as I would like when I stream
mhm,
because I don't want to come off the wrong way. And
mhm.
it does take a mental toll because anytime I'm on camera when I'm streaming, I constantly like look at my image on the stream to make sure that I don't like my shirt's not hanging down or I like look inconspicuous or like just it's so draining sometimes by the time I get off broadcast. I'm like, I'm not using my camera tomorrow. I don't want to deal with it. It's kind of frustrating, honestly, having to worry about that because I know my guy friends don't worry about it.
No,
Just
why
wear
should
whatever the heck
they?
they want.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry. It's just we kind of put this um I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it right now. Brain's not working.
Hey, it's not
I
late for
guess like
you.
a pressure. Yeah. We kind of put this like pressure on ourselves that we really shouldn't, but because we don't want to be thought of a certain way, we jump through hoops to make sure that nobody in any way can think about that. I don't it's hard to
I,
explain.
I think at the very end, this is also part of being unfuckwithable. Like a vegging Storm said here, like she's overthinking a lot, Do I dress too modest, too sexy? And I think it's the same thing at the end, like, just be yourself. And if you feel like, oh, you want to wear something sexy and you feel like it, you should. I think, my opinion. Okay, nobody has
Rock
to
it.
share that. Just rock it. Enjoy. Be yourself. When that means, to wear a sexy dress, be yourself. Veritude said here, bacon dress. You can be happy not in my stream. In my stream, nobody can talk about food. I'm always getting hungry.
He's always talking about bacon. It's amazing.
I actually wanted to ask, like, whose friend is that? Oh, that's funny. Girls should just wear whatever they want to. Who are we to judge? Yeah, I feel so too. Also, I mean, we have these rules on Twitch where you can dress whatever you want. I mean, it's not like you can go naked. So, I mean, what's the point, right?
Gotta follow that dress code.
You gotta follow that dress code, right? I mean, not that I
Yeah.
would go naked. Um, but it's very interesting, and I think everyone should, you do you, whatever that means, right? Guys, do you have any questions, by the way, in chat? Just bring it to the lady streamers here or to me, whatever. Just bring it up because we will probably end at the next 30 minutes or so, depending. So I just give you some heads up front. If you have any questions left, just shoot it in the chat.
That's true, Nick.
There was a girl streamer who wore a bikini and it was allowed because she was a kiddie pool with a bit of water.
If they're
Right.
around water, either it's like a blow up like mini pool or a beach, they're totally allowed to wear bikini. Otherwise, they are not allowed to wear bikini.
So weird.
It's interesting.
So many arbitrary rules too that Twitch has when it comes to enforcing some of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to think there are 6th graders that are watching this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
True. Did we miss anything when it comes down to toxicity, ladies here? Did we miss anything in point of toxicity against female streamers? Do you have any stories left to bring up or where we can learn from each other?
Honestly, I think just in general, female gamers, we need to be nicer to each other because I run into so many women in public, like chats and stuff like that, and sometimes
That's a
they're
good point,
really
yeah.
mean, and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, like we could have been friends. Like I would love more female gamers to game with, but as soon as I said something, you immediately turned around and attacked me because I was an immediate threat to you apparently. And it's like, I don't mean anything bad. I just want to be your friend. Like, because I always get excited when I hear other female gamers because you don't really run into them that often. Like,
Mhm.
most girls don't have their comms on in public matches because we deal with a lot of toxicity. But when they do have it on, it's just frustrating whenever they immediately go on like the defense, like they had to act like one of the boys and kind of contribute to the toxicity. And it's like, come on, like we
That's
need
a
more
good point.
support.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. Do you have, guys here, Gabby and Kevin? Do you have any experience with toxic lady gamers?
Well, what I was going to say is that like it's kind of sad that we've been conditioned, I guess, kind of growing up a little bit to dislike other girls for whatever reason. I feel like that's a generational thing. I think we're all about within a certain age range here, and it feels like it was always about girls being mean to other girls and, oh, I'm not like the other girls. I only have guy friends because girls are too complicated. It's like we're not that complicated. We were just making up all these nonsense stories and just being mean to other girls for no reason. And I feel like that's what makes me sad is like we're kind of like working against something that's been ingrained into our mind for a couple years. So it's just like just be chill. Like
Mhm.
you have no reason to immediately hate someone unless like they insult you and your dog, like maybe. But other than that, just be cool with everybody. Like it's so much more
Mhm.
easier to just say hi than swear at someone.
Yeah.
True, right?
Oh, I'm Riley.
True. Like Gabytron here asked, like, do you think that just in general, people being toxic towards females or girls in gaming has gotten better or not really? I think I have to pass forward the question to you guys because I feel like I'm not sure if I'm long enough in this game actually.
Um,
Um, I never
I think
experienced it really that bad, to be honest. Like personally, I never got that much hate besides in the com scene.
yeah. I think it comes in waves. It's kind of weird. It seems like sometimes society is like really negative as a group. Like I've run into it, and it's just like a group of people tend like. There's been months where I've run into really toxic people, and then all of a sudden it's nothing but nice people, and it's like, what's happening? You don't know what to think when you're getting on every day. You're like, is today going to be a good day and everyone's going to be happy and we're all going to get along? Or is today
Hmm.
going to be one of those days where everyone's just pissed off and angry and they're going to take it out on you?
Hmm. Yeah, right.
And I don't know. I it's so hard to pinpoint kind of what's causing it, um, or why it is the way it is. I think it's just I think social media honestly has a huge part to play in it. Um, People are easily influenced online. So if somebody's being negative about a certain topic, it definitely spreads super fast. And then somebody
Okay.
can turn around and say something positive, and then positivity will spread. And I think that's why there's like ups and downs. Like it's like a roller coaster, but it
How,
never ends.
how about we need more role models, like more male influencers who actually also look more for playing with female, maybe streamers, content creators, um, to build up this normal sense of environment.
Mhm.
You
I
think
can
this is missing, guys?
I can agree. Like in some aspects, it is missing definitely. Like I've come across a lot of male streamers who don't promote their female friends who broadcast or game. And then we have
True.
people like Steve who promote everyone and who just loves everyone and,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't care. He's just all about helping everyone become friends and grow together and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to
No, no, no.
answer it.
I'm also thinking about it right now. I just thought, like, I mean, if we try to build up communities, from scratch with young people, why not also building up the content creation thing, the role models where at the end, everybody is looking up to build gaming environments where behavior is normal, like where civilized behavior is normal and accepted. Caesar had another question, like Missy. My question to you guys: does competitive clans, in your opinion, induce the toxicity more than casuals? I don't know how much experience you guys have with the comp scene here. Gabby, do you have any experience with competitive or Scribble?
I was just casual on Battlefield forever. I mean, I had my clan that I run with, but nothing competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be competitive, sorry, my eye itches, on Modern Warfare 2. I got into MLG and stuff like that, and wow, it was definitely toxic. um, a lot of the competitive people were like, "Oh, you're a girl, you're not that good." It's been proven that guys are better at video games, and it's like, well, some of us are good at it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the competitive scene is just so very toxic. Um, I had to agree with Avenging Storm. Like it's worse when you get into the competitive side. You're treated like this complete and utter outcast. Like I've been scoffed at, um, and especially whenever I was the leader of my old MLG clan, it
Mm-hmm.
was even worse then because I was
Oh,
like,
give me an example. Give me an example. Let's say you played a match and you lost. What happened then?
oh my god, oh you're a girl, that's why you can't be in competitive. You're trash. Girls can't play as good as guys. You guys
Mm-hmm.
have no business playing competitively. You're not
Mm-hmm.
as fast as us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on. Maybe I just had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has bad days in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened to be that day.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I'm bad at the game.
Okay, other question, quick. This is trash talk, right? And if you were not a girl, and the same trash talk hits guys as well, I'm pretty sure. You guys suck, whatever. Um, is it then it's not sexism anymore, it's just trash talk, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So my question is that I think trash talk kinds of is just part of being of the competitive scene. And I think it will be always there because as soon as the ego is involved in a game, and the ego comes in when you're competitive, the ego doesn't get triggered so easily when you're just playing a casual game, right? So I think these kinds of behaviors definitely will be there, and it is inducing to answer the question, Caesar. I think yes. And then again, um, I think there should be the question, what can we do against it? You know, what's the next step? And right now, with technology and everything, it's so easy these days to say like, let's open a leak. You know, remember Battlefield 5 when the service wouldn't come, then the service would come whatsoever, but there was no like serious esports league anymore around. So every one of these small clans, you know, were building their small leagues and doing their own things. And I think that was also the time when toxicity actually got worse than before, because it is easy to make up a league, you know, to build a league, but it's very hard actually um, to lead these leagues. And this is maybe something where we could actually work with even like EA maybe and DICE more together, like what Gabby said about this platform, right? And I think this is a big part of it. Like, I think communities leaders should be able to work actually with like game developer companies together more to find ways how they can build these things, but do it in a way where it's less toxic. I don't know. This would be my suggestion. I have no idea if that would work. I think generally must come from the majority of the communities. So say it's not right. Oh yes, but they need to know how to react and what to do, right? And there we go again. And there we go again. Because you cannot expect from every single person to know what to do, what's right. It's something you have to learn.
True.
It's
Most
something you have
definitely.
to learn. Also, like, I mean, Caesar, think about it. The day is 24 hours, right? Don't you have very often the problem, like, you know, you go to work. I know you work a lot. So you go to work, you know, you see like hundreds of Discord messages, what's going on. And then you're 2 hours online in the night or whatever. You have your 2 hours to play. But the other 22 hours of the day, you know, all the shit is happening in the background and you can't do nothing about it, or you just hear stories and you weren't there. So this happens so much. You have no real influence at the end as a leader to everything what is happening in your platoon or community. So what you need is a strong leadership. And there are so many messages, I can't even follow them.
Yeah.
But I hope you understand what I mean. I mean, I'm thinking a lot about this so over the years, and it's just a really tough job these days. I think it's a generational thing too. My 15-year-old who plays with us most nights and slays. I wouldn't want her to get into qualm, just wanted to in the bubble as I how toxic comp is. Well, I don't know, maybe comp is changing as well, Chris. I mean, look, as stupid as it is, you know what we see these days in that video, you know, these you know, messages, toxicity. I don't think it's also like we have to deal it with like 90% of the time we are gaming. Or do you feel like it's like that? Do you feel like we have 90% of the time we are actually playing this female game, it's toxicity is around us? I mean, that's very sad, right? Or how do you
Hmm.
feel like? How do you feel like? Could you give a percentage?
I think it's maybe closer to like 10 to 15% of the time. It's
Yeah.
not that common anymore. It was really bad a few years ago. It was definitely more potent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because of Twitch and other streamers and stuff kind of bringing up the toxicity of it and how it's affecting not only streamers, but just gamers on the platform in general and their mental well being, I think that's played a big role in it. But there are definitely those nights where it's just like nothing but toxicity. any game, like every single match, just that toxic person. Another one, and another one. And it's like, okay, maybe tonight's just not the night for multiplayer games. Let's go to something solo.
Yeah, these aren't jokes. No, absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, I think I read a number or something that like, I think it was something like female usernames report receiving threatening or sexually explicit private messages 25 times more often than those with male or ambiguous usernames. Oh, that's, I mean, that's quite a number, 25 times more is definitely something.
Yeah, that's a pretty big multiplier there.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm good. I'm good. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about like, hold on, I gotta put it together. I lost it. I need a minute. Go
No
ahead.
worries. I go ahead. Wait, Lady Karas, do you have anything to add? I think you were gone actually when we started talking about it. It was actually, you don't have experience with the comp scene, right? Or did you ever play competitive?
I played competitive, but only in Battlefield. So, like I said, they didn't know I was a female, except my squad mates that were in, or the clan mates that we were in the competitive scene. So, yeah, I didn't have that toxic stuff going on. I have more toxic stuff going on as people would come into my chat rather than in game, because like I said, people don't know that I'm a female in game.
They were accusing Avenging Storm of not being strong enough to handle the community. They made me feel worse and weaker than them for having fears and feelings. Well, that's also the thing. I feel like I have another question actually, and it's totally maybe a little bit off topic about feelings and fears. I feel there's another type of gamers, of male gamers who are coming in my stream sometimes, and it's like they see a female gamer and it feels like this mummy connection, and I can just tell you everything about my problems.
True.
You have that sometimes too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel weird. You know what I mean?
I don't mind, actually.
I don't mind either, but sometimes it makes me feel weird. Like I feel used is maybe the wrong word, but it's like if it's random guys, I'm talking about random people, people I've never seen before, like I don't know, weird.
I was
What
actually
I would do, sorry. You could
Oh,
go.
no, sorry. I was gonna say I was actually reading about this kind of interaction, and it's called parasocial interaction. Like when people get too attached to a celebrity or TV personality or something like that, they feel like they're their friend and they're part of that. So not to say that everyone has this, but there is like that like documented phenomena of people seeing you and thinking that you're immediately best friends, and they can message you at any time of the day and have you on Discord at a moment's notice, and it is weird. And I mean, both guys and girls get this. You get the weirdos messaging you, but obviously with girls we get it a little bit more. So yeah, I actually did do a little bit of reading about this, where it's like people do just open up to you, and then they just they don't know where those boundaries start and end, and it can get weird.
It can get weird, right?
Very. And I think online actually has a lot to play with that too. I feel like a lot of people are sometimes they like when you're in person with somebody, you're not just going to open up to somebody that's brand new to you because you just met them and it would be really awkward. But a lot of people do it from the computer, like behind a screen, and have no worry about anything they say. And I think that's what's weird about it. Because it's like, okay, I just met you and you're telling me all this stuff. But I don't want to be rude because this is concerning. But at the same time, it's like, how do I handle this? I don't know you, so I can't really give you the support you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's definitely odd.
So So here's the last thought, guys, because I'm think we are about to get to an end. So just saying, I'll give you a warning, guys, in chat. We are about to get to the end. So if you have any last question, you have to shoot it now. Here's the last thought. What if people started thinking about the effect on victims' mental health before they make the decision to abuse, bully, or rape? Or whatever they do, like women in games, women in entertainment. I just try to make an overall topic about this. What about if we get more awareness about, think about what you say, how it affects other people? What kind of instrument could we build? How to get people more to think? Like, what can we do? How can we make people more think about that? Taking ownership for their actions, basically.
Um, kind
They're
of.
more sensitive way.
I've seen more and more people, especially on like social media, like Twitter. If somebody says something, someone will take it and kind of blow it up online, which isn't honestly the best approach to it. But sometimes, depending on the person, it is the only way for them to realize that their actions actually are very negative, or what they're saying is just very negative, and calling each other out. Like, I'm not scared anymore to call someone out, even if I've been friends with them for a long time, or if it's another streamer. I'll just kind of say, hey, that's not okay, and explain why it's not okay. And I don't care if they ban me at that point. Like, it's their stream, they can do what they want. But I think if we just bring more attention to why we shouldn't be doing these things as a community, we'll probably see less of it, because then it's going to make more people feel sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's going to make people feel
Good, don't worry.
oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? Just more aware of what they're talking about and how they're being in general. It's crazy how much social media can influence a lot of people at once. Maybe like a movement type thing, and let's end toxicity on Twitch type thing, and make a hashtag and everybody kind of promote it type thing. Everything spreads like wildfire on social media. And to try and make like an active, positive cause and promote that might help, maybe. I don't know.
No,
Could be one
absolutely.
way.
I like that. What are your thoughts, girls?
I feel like I acknowledge and I like all of these initiatives that people try to do, like stop bullying, and they'll make a campaign, but I feel like that's kind of easily like ignored and left off by a lot of these people that actually need to be paying attention to that. So I feel like this isn't really a solution, more of an opinion, but I feel like sometimes in the way that we word things and how we choose to approach it, like instead of saying, hey, let's stop bullying, why don't we do a forum for people to talk about why they're so upset or something, like not that specifically, but but like when you frame it maybe a little bit differently, then people might be more open to maybe change something they didn't realize that needed to be changed. And I just feel like this is just me looking at it from like a marketing perspective. That's part of what I did. So I'm just thinking like, well, instead of saying let's stop bullying, let's end bullying, why don't we switch it to like, why don't you come hang out with us for an hour today and we can just talk it out, like kind of just frame it a little bit differently. So I just feel like sometimes in the way that we approach things, like the language that we use has a lot to do with it. Like there's like even female gamer or girl gamer is so loaded. Sometimes I think like maybe if we kind of just start with like our words and how we start framing things like that could help. But I don't know. There's a lot of changes that need to happen on lots of different scales for anything to actually happen. So if we can start with something small, like I said, maybe just words, then that could help. But it's such a big topic to tackle, where it's like we can only speculate and do what we can, and hopefully we can help someone out along the way.
Lady Keros, any last words about that?
They basically said everything.
No, it's good.
Have something else to say.
Do you have any last message, ladies, to to the ladies out there, to the guys out there? Anything, which comes into your mind, which you think like this is something you always wanted to say?
I want to say thank you
Um,
to everyone who calls it out or is just a decent person to begin with. Like I see a lot of people in the chat saying like it's crappy that people act like this. So to all of you that know it and acknowledge it, thank you for being a good person.
Mhm.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Definitely, definitely. Well, if you good to go, ladies, let's make sure everyone in the chat knows you and finds you. Uh, give me a second. What happened here? I switched my Twitch stream. There we go. Um, Joe, can you just put in the links again of the ladies, please? Or did I miss that already? I think you could
I
do
see them
this.
in there.
Okay, I missed. Alrighty, guys, we will come to an end here. Thank you so much all for being here in the chat. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me tonight.
It was a
Um,
pleasure.
I'm,
Yes.
For
I'm
having us.
the honor was mine. I'm pretty sure this is not the last time we talked about this in this way or in another way. Because I think there's always, different perspectives from people, different solutions, and maybe we can find something where we can help as gamers who care to make the gaming, the gaming society better, to improve stuff, maybe to help you guys here as community leaders, as for example, Caesar here. Caesar, we will catch up definitely the next 2 weeks and see what we can do. Um, really, so much love here into the chat, guys. If you want to follow us, by the way, you can find us on mostly all social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, here on Twitch, of course, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything under GamersWeCare. You can join also our Discord. We are always open for suggestions to improve our streams, to improve what we are doing. Just let us know. We are really open for that. I mean, it's not like we are perfect. We just love to find ways to improve, all of your lives, guys. And thank you so much for helping us. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows, by the way. We got a few new followers today in Streamy, I saw. Thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated. Don't forget to follow these amazing ladies here. Gabytron, ScribbleNinja, Lady Cameras from Greece. So make sure. Oh, Fergus is here. Damn, Fergus, I hope you had a great podcast too. She was in a podcast today. I hope you had a great time. We will wait now and share the